Would the members of the Budget Committee please come to Committee Room 1 for quorum?
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting of the Budget Committee to order. Happy Friday morning, everyone. Are there any declarations of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Seeing none, I'd like to get a motion to confirm the minutes of the September 19, 2016 meeting. Councillor Di will do that. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Okay, I believe we have 4 items on the agenda today. We'll begin with the first, BU 24.1, the Association of Community Centers Settlement of Operating Results for year ending 2015. Are there any questions of staff? Okay. Moved. Number 1, all in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Good morning. Okay, we've just started. BU 24.2, the Arena Board settlement of the operating results for year 2015. Any questions? There's a supplemental report that came in on that, I believe yesterday. Oh, okay, let's hold that one down.
Yeah, thank you.
BU 24.3 Facilities, Real Estate, Environment and Energy 2016 Capital Budget and 2016 to 25 Capital Plan Adjustments and Accelerations Deferrals for the 4th quarter. Any questions? Councillor Di moves staff recommendations. All in favor, opposed, carried. BU 24.4, the Path Wayfinding Project. Any questions of staff on that? You want to just hold it down?
Just a super quick one. I think we can pass it. This is no change from the original report. This is happening as was planned. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes,
Okay, Councillor Carroll, you good with council?
Yeah, you move it.
that?
yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? That carried. Okay, we're going to go back to Arena Board settlement of operating results for the year 2015. Can I just say, so Councillor, you wanted to defer the item till when?
So in the, Mr. Chair, in the spring, we did our annual update on loans to agencies and groups and line of credit guarantees and other guarantees. In that, we highlighted that there was a particular problem with that loan that the arena has. We already have a resolution passed by Executive Committee and Council for us to report back on the terms of that loan. The terms of that, so we're going to do that work anyway. This is really just a transactional report. They're really not linked. I don't see closing, not dealing with this report, having to link back to that other report, because we're just trying to clean up all our year ends, and it is, getting late in the year end. So we are committed to coming back and dealing with the if we need be, if we need more money, if we're changing the terms materially, we can do that. When we wrote the grants report, it was because we had 2014 information, which they were in deficit. 2015, they're not in deficit anymore. So it's less of a problem now as well.
But the issue for me is that in 2014, Leaside, through their arrangement, they're dealt in a special way as opposed to the other 7 arena boards. So any time they're in deficit, it gets added to their long-term debt, right? And that's an issue in itself. But then this year they're in surplus, and the city's taking the money back. So they're not. So that's a big issue, and I want to get that issue solved. As long as
Yes. Well,
not deferring this, as long as it's passing. I don't know all the procedures, but as long as that doesn't somehow impede my ability to work with staff on this.
I understand that. So technically, we're not taking the money back. We take arena board surpluses, we put them in a reserve for the replacements of their Zamboni, and I was just going to refer to...
Which is a general reserve.
No, well, that's what I wanted to confirm. I believe that they are set aside in proportion to their surpluses, but I need Josie to confirm.
That's a discussion we're going to have because my whole thing, right, is about this whole debt.
So, sorry, the question is, so we don't claw back the surpluses. We put the surpluses in a reserve for their Zamboni replacements, and I just need to confirm with Josie if they're held in proportion to what the surpluses are.
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes. The practice for a very long time on both arena boards and AOX, as you can see from both report number 1 and number 2, is that any deficits, any of the different boards that have surpluses help offset the deficits. And if there's an overall general surplus, then we first contribute to their fleet reserve for Zamboni replacement. And then any residual, either the city pays or the city brings back into surplus. And that's council's policy and practice that we've had since amalgamation.
Right, and I'm questioning that with all due respect, because anytime there's in the June report, there were extenuating circumstances. I think it was in Bill Bell Arena, and that $26,000 was written off. The same situation happened in Leaside, and that got added to their long-term debt.
So through you, Mr. Chair, but we don't actually write it off. I mean, it's in some ways it's no different than our divisions and other agencies. If they happen to be in a deficit situation, any surpluses brought in from the organization help compensate for that, and the net surplus through the surplus management policy then directs how we deal with that surplus. So they're treated really like everyone else. The issue with the arena boards is they're supposed to be but they're budgeted at net zero. and sometimes they exceed their projections, sometimes they fall short of their projection. When there are construction projects like the arena pad and other kinds of closures, and we see that they actually have less money, the city comes in and funds that. So it's a, it's a broader relationship around the city being accountable for any shortfalls, and any surpluses then come back to the city, equal to what we do with the police, TTC, and, shelter or transportation. So it is.
But through the speaker, at the other arenas, the other arena had a 26,000. No one, in any of the other 7 facilities, does a deficit get added on to debt of the actual facility that they are responsible to pay back?
So through you, Mr. Chair, the Arena Board second pad project was a standalone decision by council based on a very long discussion through the years around the business case of adding that pad, which at one point the original proposition was that it was supposed to be funded by them wholly, and it eventually evolved into a loan, and those were the conditions of that particular project. So, in some ways, it's the regular operation and transaction of this report with the combination of that project and its conditions being brought together is what you're seeing.
Okay, well, this is, in my opinion, a longer conversation. So I understand everyone, there are time constraints. So all I'm asking is this deferral. If we don't, if I don't need a deferral to try to address this other issue, then I'm fine.
We know we need to deal with this issue.
Okay.
And we're already committed to
Okay,
come
so
back
now
with
I don't
a
need a
report.
deferral.
Yeah,
Thanks.
and Councillor, also, this will be an item on the executive committee. Even if we defer it here, it's still an item on the executive.
Oh,
And
okay.
if you want to defer it, maybe we can have the conversation before exec. And if that's something you still want to go forward with, we can deal with it executive.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, it does go to executive, so. Okay. Oh, sorry, yes, Councillor Carroll has a question.
So I have a question. This is one of those, this is why people get really nervous when we start into a special deal within a structure, which is what happened when Leaside Arena wanted to build this extra pad. I think in this whole committee, I think probably Councillor Nunziata and I were the only ones that were here at that time. They wanted to have this extra pad at a time when the city was in no way, shape, or form in the situation to help them out with that. And there was a concern at the time that it would, over time, be forgotten that we have this symbiotic relationship between the arena boards, and they help each other out through that pooled surplus. But that this was going to be a separate deal and a loan for which they were accountable ever after. So what I'm wondering is there an already created briefing note that describes that original commitment that could be attached to any decision we might be taking now, years later? Could we have, this was the arrangement struck at the time, so that it's really clear to people there's the overall arena board's symbiotic relationship, and then there's the special Leaside Arena commitment.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So that original loan was approved by council, so we could pull the report where that loan was explained at, I believe it went to the
With
executive
a soupçon of trepidation, yes, it was adopted by council.
So we can pull that information out
Okay,
and
good.
bring that back when we bring forward the report.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. Just one, no, it's in response to Councillor Carroll, no, I was not here. But all I'm just want to make sure is that somehow that particular facility, in this case Leaside, isn't penalized. So when they run a deficit, I understand how that gets added to their debt, and I understand that's a unique situation. They're the only arena board. My concern is when they run a surplus, if one year they run a $50,000 deficit, but that's what I want. But I don't think that surplus goes to the loan. That's the problem. That's exactly the issue. I want it to go to the loan, Councillor Carroll.
And that's the issue that we've been asked to report back on.
Okay. So we're just looking to, this is just a summary report. We're looking just to receive it, I believe. Oh, the recommendations are 1 and 2 from the supplementary report.
And just to answer the speaker's question, we already have a direction and approval by Executive Committee and Council to go review the terms of the loan agreement and see what adjustments we need, given the fact that they had a deficit in 14, but now are in surplus in 15.
Can I just ask?
Yes, sir, Councilor Nunziata?
George Ballerina is in my ward, and so I believe that they also have a loan that they're paying back to the cities. So some of their surplus can't it go back, can't it?
So that's
towards the
correct. I
loan?
understand that they have a small loan remaining.
Yeah,
on
but
the
wouldn't it be
George
nice if they
Ballerina.
could pay it off?
I didn't get that.
And they are up to date and current on all the payments. So they're fine. We don't have a problem with that. They are then treated like all the AOCs and the other arena boards of management, where surpluses first pay down deficits, the remaining go into Zamboni Fleet Replacement Reserve in proportion to the surpluses that got contributed to. So
Now
they
what-
get their proportionate share.
Now, what if one of the arenas, they would like to have intent to build a second pad? So how do they save, like, how can they save money towards that?
So what happens is what happened in the Leaside Arena. That was a loan to build a second ice pad. They came to us with a business proposal. We looked at and assessed the business proposal, and we came up with a loan arrangement. And
So they
that's
could
how
do-
those major improvements are structured.
So they could do that if they want?
Yes, if an arena or an AOC wanted to do something, an expansion of that sort, that's how we've handled it in the past. And then we come up with some terms,
Yeah.
assessing the business case to make sure that there's a solid business case.
Yeah.
Because, as Josie did say, they are supposed to be self-sustaining organizations.
Any other questions? Any speakers to the item? Anybody want to move that? Councilor Carroll, move that. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? That's carried. I believe we're done. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we actually discussed that and we passed it.